Hi, hello, welcome back to my channel. This is Patient. Today we're here to talk about cannabis, or what most of you refer to as marijuana. Now, as recently involved in a conversation or a debate about legalization of medical cannabis in Uganda, or using marijuana as a drug in Uganda, one thing I've realized is that most health workers have not come out to sensitize individuals about the dangers of legalizing cannabis as a drug. This is not just a concern to me because it affects one of the health sectors that I'm passionate about, which is psychiatry. It's also because this is one of the factors that are considered before a drug is actually passed on as a drug. Before a drug is legalized, there are certain steps that they consider, and one of those is they weigh the benefits to the risks or the dangers of using that drug. Now, when the dangers are more than the benefits of that drug, usually they hesitate or they do not pass on that drug, and that is one of the reasons why marijuana or medical cannabis has not yet been passed on, because its dangers are more than its benefits as per now with the current research that we have. And the problem here is most individuals, or even most health workers, are coming out to sensitize individuals about the benefits of using cannabis or medical marijuana, but they're forgetting to educate these people about the dangers or the risks of what cannabis can do. Let's start off with the basics. Legalizing medical cannabis itself would have no problem if all their research is okay. The problem is the aftermath, what happens after that. Now, when you legalize something as a drug, it means it's going to be readily available in pharmacies, at hospital, anywhere where you can purchase drugs from. This means it increases its availability or accessibility as an off-counter drug. That means patients can go and buy them like they've always been doing self-medicating. And if you've seen what has happened with opioids or painkillers, patients go and buy them from pharmacies and self-medicate. By the time you get them at hospital, either they're no longer responding to certain painkillers because they have overused them unnecessarily. I mean, if you carry that similar context of opioids or painkillers and how they're being misused currently to marijuana or cannabis that has not even been legalized in the country yet, but already has medical cases or psychiatric cases, at least 65% of the patients that you see on psychiatry ward, they have mental illnesses induced by cannabis use. And this is a drug that is not yet legalized. I mean, to me, it looks like you're trying to avoid the legal part and just make it like a public health problem. Tell me why you would want to legalize something as a drug that already has all these effects on people, the ones that you've actually failed to tame or control before the drug is even legalized. Before we move away from the point of mental illnesses, there is something else I wanted us to know about cannabis or marijuana. Now, cannabis has a very high addiction potential. What does that mean? It means individuals that are using cannabis or marijuana are at a very high risk of developing dependence. It means they want to use it, they cannot function without it. There is a text where they feel like to do anything, I should first take marijuana, or to do this, to do that, I need to first take it. And that's a very dangerous stage, because once you reach there, it puts you at a very high risk of developing intoxication, withdrawal. It means you know that drug is bad for you, you're trying to stop it, but every time you stop it, you get really bad symptoms that push you to taking it again. And that's how we end up into mental illness. And in the end, that's how most of the individuals that are actually using cannabis end up at hospital, because of the mental illness that result from that. And one of those can be substance-induced psychosis, can be substance-induced depression, or what we can do mood disorders. It can be substance-induced anxiety. All these things due to cannabis use, something that has not yet been legalized but it's about to be legalized. I don't know if the research in Uganda is already proper, but people are still having conversations about legalizing a drug like this. For me, it's still a no. Thirdly, I want us to look at the young population, which is actually the bigger percentage of the individuals that are actually at hospital due to cannabis-related health issues. Now, ranging from the early teenage ages to the late 20s or even early 30s, most of which these are children that actually may be in the P7 class or P6 or even secondary school or even university students, including health workers. I don't know how big of an alarm this needs to be, but to me, these are children that are actually suffering with their performance at school. They are dropping out of school. They are becoming a problem to their parents, because these are children that are actually taking cannabis or marijuana in hiding. They have become chronic users, and it's not like they usually do it as individuals. They do it as a group of people. So by the time you get one patient, it means that like other like 7 or 10 that are also at a very high risk of developing the mental illness or being even admitted to hospital. So this thing has become a very rampant, and to me, this is a drug that is still illegal in the country, that has not yet been legalized but has all these effects, and we're still talking about legalizing it. I feel like we can still find ways to counteract the uses that people actually listing, stress, pain. I don't know. We can still find other drugs that we can use in their case, that we don't really have to legalize marijuana. To me as an individual, I would also love to listen to what your opinion is. Of recent, one of our lecturers was telling us a story of how he was traveling from one town to another. They were using a taxi. So one of the passengers in the taxi saw the driver using a certain substance while he was driving. So he was very uncomfortable and decided to tell the driver to stop somewhere so he can get out. So when he got out, also the other passengers were curious what exactly happened. This is not where people usually stop to get out or something like that. So when they tried to inquire and they got to know the problem, they all decided to get out of the taxi. So the driver stayed alone. Along the way, the driver decided to take more of that substance. And while these people got another taxi and they decided to move on, they found this similar taxi somewhere along the road and it had overturned. So the driver got an accident. Luckily enough, he was alone in the taxi, where they don't know if he was alive or he was not alive. This is something that usually happens with individuals that take substances, which include marijuana or cannabis. This is something that happens with very many individuals when it comes to doing jobs. Like I said, marijuana has its health benefits or its medical benefits, which are not, I don't know if there is enough research to prove that, but because individuals have come out to know what those benefits are, so they choose to use it for those benefits. But when it becomes too much, it's like you have a small cup and you're trying to put in water, but then you've opened the tap to its maximum. It's like it's not needed as well as you would really need it to fill your cup, but the cup is too small for all that amount of water pressure. So it's the same thing. Yes, it would be a good thing, but you develop the need to use it continuously and multiple times more than needed. And for anything that is good, when you overuse it, it becomes bad. Any drug can become a poison if it's used in the wrong way. And that's how most individuals have actually come out to lose their jobs, because the efficiency is very, very low. Now, for example, that driver, I do not know if he was alive or not alive. He sustained very major injuries. Someone can come out lame, or maybe they even have to go for amputation, or maybe a limb is removed. Or you think the owner of that taxi, in case it was not his, would allow him to drive again in case he actually realized that if in case it happens more often? No. So I feel like cannabis may be doing more harm because people do not know how to regulate themselves in terms of using it. And this is something that is still not yet legal, but it has all these problems. My call for help is, if you cannot educate people on how to use it, or if you cannot find ways to how to tame it or control it, supply how people can use it, I feel like it still shouldn't be a drug that is authorized or legalized because they're trying to manage pain, stress. I don't know. I still really need to hear what other people would love to say, because I would really love to be informed. I've said this before, but I'll still say it again, and I won't stop saying it, but individuals that are using substances, for example marijuana or cannabis, are at a very high risk of taking their own lives, or suicidal risk. This usually comes secondary to the mental illness that they have developed, or even to the repercussions that come after them using these substances. Like I said, the driver, most of these people have lost their jobs because of the repercussions of them failing to control the use of this cannabis or marijuana. So they get into instances or situations that they should have actually not been in, and that's how someone is desperate. Usually with this economy, someone loses their job, they have children, they don't know what to do, and that's the only thing they're surviving on. They feel like they're no longer worthy, or they don't have any direction of life, and that's how they end up in situations like that. Or for example, your parent has found out that you're using this substance at school. Maybe it's like, I cannot take you back to school, you're wasting my school fees. Now you're at home, you're in the village, you're doing this and this and that, and at a certain point in time, maybe you end up even using this drug some more, or you feel like you're no longer like your friends, you no longer feel like you are worthy of living, and you'd end up in situations like that. I mean, we're still talking about a drug that we're debating on legalizing. So for me, to a drug that can get you to instances like that, I still feel like it's not good enough to be legalized. I don't know if it's a debate here, but to me, it's very essential to let people know about its benefits that people have found out, also its dangers or risks that can put them in a worse situation, so that people are not corrupted, so that we both know about this situation. So in case there is any more information that maybe I have not talked about, or maybe I may be ignorant about, I'm very open to learning. You can let me know in the comment section, you can hit me up any on my social media platforms. Otherwise, to me, legalizing medical marijuana, medical cannabis is still, I'm still a little bit hesitant about it. Maybe unless proper research is proven and showed, I would have no problem with that, but I'm still concerned about its dangers, especially for a sector that I'm really concerned about, is psychiatry or mental health. Otherwise, thank you so much for reaching this far. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to share, comment, subscribe. Otherwise, I love you, and bye.